What is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Dent Digest Live Show. What's up, Manny?
Yo, what's up, Ryan? Shout outs to everyone out there. Shout outs to everyone in the house. Jeff, Atlantic, Paintless, Dent Repair in the house. Thomas, welcome everyone. Hey, if you guys can share us, what's up, Ryan? How are you?
I'm doing good. It feels like we haven't had a show in forever, and that's totally because of me.
And you
But
know what? It's funny, but I was kind of, the last 2 weeks is just like my wife's like, so you're gonna be staying late today at the shop, like. I'm like, no, there's no show today. And then today that we are doing the show, all kinds of stuff just keep popping up, So
that's usually how it works, man.
yeah.
It's,
How you
it's
how you been,
we
Ryan?
are really, really busy still. It's nonstop. We've had a lot of weird storms here. Like it hailed last night. No real damage, but it's like all these little pop-up storms in like a little bit of town. So like you can like drive 5 minutes and be out of it, and then drive 5 minutes and you're in it, and it's like a hurricane.
Oh
So it's
wow.
been really weird weather. So a lot of
Sounds
down
like
trees.
sounds like Texas weather too, right?
It's roof weather. It's roof weather is what I call it.
Man, that's
So
crazy. Well, as long as everyone's okay though.
besides that, I got a really cool call today. We had Josh from Atlantic Paintless Dent Repair call me, and he goes, "Hey, I want to share something with you." I'm like, "What's that?" He said, "I had another tech just call me that he saw my interview on your show and is deciding to go on with his paintless dent repair career because of that
No
story.
way.
It kind of inspired him. So it was kind of cool. He called me. He's like, "Hey, I want to share this with you." And I'm like, that's cool.
No
Um,
way.
so it's nice that, we're at least doing something instead of just babbling, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's the thing that being able to hear everyone's story, you just never know who could connect and who could relate to that story. Everyone has their own stories, right? But you never know, what's in someone's mind, and when they hear an interview from someone else, things just may click.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
The other
And
thing that I've really enjoyed, and this tonight's show is a perfect example. There's so many guys out there that I've never heard of. Tonight, you were like telling me yesterday, I'm like, I got no clue. I got no clue. So it's kind of cool to everybody get to meet these other guys. You know what I
right,
mean? And today I was
right.
really doing my homework on him. I was just kind of going through his Instagram and watching things. I'm like, okay, this guy is a character. It's going to be a good show. So I'm
Yeah,
excited.
there's a lot of. You're absolutely right. There's so many techs out there. I've came across a lot of old school techs. I mean, they have been in the industry for a long time, and I'm like, man, it's just like it's just so dope.
Yeah.
Um, and you got a lot of like new techs, that have been 5, 6, 7 years, uh, and they're killing it.
Yeah.
You know. So that's what I love about this show, that we just get all kinds of texts from all over the country and bring them up and share their story.
It's pretty cool. I'm still going. So we're still making it happen one way or the other. I'm like, Manny, who are we having this week? It's just one of those things that back in the day, when I first started this, I had a black book and I would be 3 or 4 weeks booked out. And I remember that, but it was always hard because life happens. You know what I mean? Things come up and people can't do it. So I was like, we're going to go week to week, and it's just easier that way.
Yeah. And by the way, if any of the guys listening, if you guys have like a tech that you guys really want us to bring them up, please share. We definitely don't mind, taking in texts that we may not even know about.
Exactly. And it
Um,
broadens the industry. You know what I mean?
right.
Like now I have a relationship with him. You know what I mean? We were just talking, and I never known him before. Same
Yeah.
thing with any of these guys.
Yeah.
So
You know what's the cool part too is just that I don't care how long you've been in the industry, whether you're new or you've been in the industry. It's just like there's always something to be learned, you know, and you just never know when when maybe some of this newer techs may teach you or show you something that you just, you know, you've never done. And
100%.
vice versa. You know, we may hear stories from techs that have been in the industry for a long time. They'll share some knowledge, and it's just like, yeah, you know, it's just like it'll click. You'll take that and make it your own. You know,
100%, 100%. And it's when you're looking through stuff, you know, like the guests we have on tonight. I'm like, he's got a really badass logo. You know what I mean? There's a lot of like, I'm like, that is a badass logo.
He's killing it, man. he's killing it.
So you want to see something funny? I know I'm going to save this for when our guest gets on, but the dog ate my homework tonight. So, you know, must not have liked the joke. So we're in trouble, but let's get him on. Let's get this thing going. How's business for you first?
Man, just like you, just busy. You know, like I said, today, knowing that the show was coming up, all kinds of stuff popped out. I just actually got my last drop off for the day, and just grateful, man. Just pushing away, you know.
Yeah,
pushing away.
I had a customer. What day was it? Monday. Came in, really nice lady. There was no fixing her dent. I mean, it needs a quarter, you know, it's wrecked. And we were explaining, and she's like, can you just buff the scuff off of it? I'm like, well, the scuff's not really going to make it look, it was like her friend's car.
Hey, man.
And I'm like, I'll do that. So I'm out there buffing it real quick, getting the scuff off of it just to make her happy. And she comes in and is taking pictures when we went back into the shop, like open the doors, taking pictures. And that lady posted on every single platform of that, this is the place to go.
That's funny.
Which was cool. You just, you know, people, it was just different for me, you know, and I'm not used to people like really excited when I'm like, yeah, I can't fix your dent. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
You know, sometimes that's all they need is just to have someone just try. You know, can you try just polishing it? You know, they don't know any better. They just know that the scuffs are gone. You know,
it looks different.
Yeah.
Sometimes I tell Noah and the guys, I said, we're in the business to make things look different. Because some of the stuff is just not, you know, going to be perfect. So,
yeah.
Well, let's get him on. I'm going to let you introduce him. And then I've got a little special tip before we really get into his story that I want to share.
Let's get that video on.
So
that's going to be the introduction.
We're gonna let this go first before we pull him on, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna fix these dents, gonna help me pay my rent, yeah. I'm gonna fix these dents, gonna help me pay my rent, yeah. I'm gonna fix these dents, gonna help me pay my rent, yeah.
So here we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one
Look at the famous man here.
That's right. I'm not going to twerk live tonight, but
I got a funny story about that. So I got home and I was eating dinner and I'm just trying to, you know, still do some homework and think of some things that I wanted to ask you. And I was watching this. And it was my kid and my wife, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, play this thing, and they're all like, what are you watching? And we sat there for like 10 minutes and laughed about it. So I was like, I got to add this in there. So
it's funny because I think my kids are watching this live right now. And that's the one video that they go to my Instagram and they watch it over and over again. I think they call it E.T. Butt One or something because I look like E.T. or something. I think of my butt. So, yeah.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah,
so
that's what happens when I'm at the shop by myself working. So my brother-in-law was out doing his route that day. So yeah, I have to get creative.
So what's the name of your company?
Yeah.
So we're Performance Restoration Dent Repair. So we're located in downtown Longmont. Longmont's a small town. located about 20 minutes north of Boulder, about 45 or 50 minutes north of Denver. So, yep.
Do me a favor. How do you pronounce your name? Because I didn't want her to get it wrong. And yesterday I was just like, how do you pronounce his name? I've heard you say it a few times, but I'm like,
it's Jiraiya.
Jiraiya.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So every week my kid picks jokes and we come on here and talk about the jokes. So like I said earlier, the dog ate my homework tonight. So, but we're still going to go with it. What did one eye say to the other? What did one eye say to the other? Come on, boys. Somebody in here. Some of the 27 people watching. Let's figure this out.
What did one eye say to the other?
Man. Do you have the answer?
I do. All right, I'm giving it up.
Yeah, please. I'm thinking too much over here.
So what did one eye say to the other? Between you and me, something smells.
Between me and you.
The nose. You get it? You get it?
That's a good one.
So that was a good one. You know.
I thought it was more like what Dent Repo said. I can't see you. You know, or something like that.
Maybe.
I don't know. But that was
we're Dent guys, man. It's okay. It's okay. So, how long have you been doing paintless dent repair? How did you get into it?
So I grew up in the biz. I learned from my dad in my early 20s. So I've been, it's getting close to 13 years, something like that. So quite a while. At the beginning, I kind of dabbled in it. I was interested in it, but I just had other things. I was in college and trying to play hockey, and you know, it wasn't a super big priority for me. So I think my story is kind of similar. I saw a quick video. What is it? Michael Good down in Tampa. So his dad, I think Michael Good Sr., was good friends with my dad, who was a 1990s pioneer as well. So that was my dad. I learned from him, and he kind of paved the way for a lot of PDR techs. He actually takes credit for making the original soft tip. I don't know if he actually did, but he takes credit for it. So he would take tools, and he would take his drill bit, and he would take the tip out of it, and he would drill the tip of his tool, and he would go to the hardware store and just get one of those little rubber bumpers for a desk or a chair, and he'd slide it on there. Yeah, so he was doing that in the 90s, and then I think some companies started selling the tool that he kind of he was getting them to make his tool eventually. He's like, can you make these for me? And then I think they ran with it, but I don't know. It could have been around, but he definitely takes credit for it. So that's who I learned from, my dad, and then they started a body shop in North Carolina, and I was detailing cars there in my 20s, and it wasn't really my first choice. It was I kind of dabbled in it. I wasn't all in, and I was learning, and then eventually I was like, all right, I gotta learn this. So I think I was like 20 or 21, something like that, and I started taking it more seriously. And my dad's, one of his lots got hit with hail, and I got thrown into the deep end of the pool, and me and my brother were working this 150 cars, and our tool setup was pretty brutal. I learned a lot from my dad, but he was old school, and old school, the tools are a little bit older. We were using the like a fluorescent bulb.
Wow.
So it's really hard to find your tool with those lights, and it's hard to learn with those. So that's what we were using to fix hail. We weren't using like big fat heads or anything like that. So me and my brother were struggling. We didn't know what we were doing, but it was like a feast there though, because the whole lot, there was like 150 cars, and this was before the market was getting watered down. So my dad was he was getting close to 100% of the ticket for wholesale with like 200 cars. So it was like if you were a good tech, you were gonna. It was a gold mine. But me and my brother we had a long way to go. So eventually, my dad reached out to some contacts, and he got a guy from Florida. His name was Matt McNally, and he kind of took us under his wing. He's I'm not sure. I think he lives in Central Florida now. He's a hail chaser. He's getting older now. He's a good tech, but he came in. I remember the first day he came in there. He started laughing as soon as he saw us. So yeah, I think I was 22 maybe. My brother's a little bit older. He was probably 30. But my brother, he was making a PDR light, and he was experimenting with it, and it had like a free pattern on it. So it was like some really spread apart LED strips, and I remember it was in the side of the shop, and it was like going off into this crazy pattern. It looked like a traffic light, and he just walked in the door and just like, "What are you guys doing in here? This is like third world dent repair. Like what the?" But he was a great guy. He helped me a lot. So Matt McNally, like my dad, Matt McNally, and then I got thrown into the deep end of the pool again, and I went to Europe. I chased some hailstorms in Switzerland and France, and that's when I learned how to use blending hammers. Was out there. So, but I didn't really take dents super serious, like in my early 20s, and then I started taking it more serious. And then I had kids. I got married, and then I had no choice. I had to really get focused. So it's been a cool journey, but it didn't really feel like my own journey until like I made it my own, and I had to kind of pave my own way because I was walking in my dad's footsteps a little bit, and I don't think I appreciated what he was giving me. And then once I kind of, figured out that it is an art, super highly skilled trade, and that a lot of people are wanting to learn this. And back when I was learning it, the internet wasn't as big, so it was like you had to know somebody to know somebody.
Oh yeah.
It was like this secret wizard knowledge. So I was lucky enough to have that, and then between my dad and some mentors I've met over the years, I've been able to build up a good skill set. But still learning every day for sure. Now,
you were saying how you learned blending overseas. What was different? Like, did they just show you how to blend, or
what year was that, by the way?
That was probably 2012.
Wow.
Maybe something like that. I think I was 3 or 4 years in at that point, and I was good enough. I thought I was good, but I wasn't. But yeah, I don't even think I saw anyone use a blending hammer. And that was before like blending hammers, people weren't really using them as much back then either. So I got back to the States, and then I just started beating the hell out of cars. And I had a guy there, I don't remember his name, but I was watching him, and he took me under his wing, and he was showing me how to use it. And he used that old, is it like the Dentcraft blending hammer that's a little longer and like thicker? Yeah. And it's not super, I wouldn't use that now, but he was pretty good with it. But I think when I was in France, I just made like some random hammer out of like an old rubber mallet and like made it work because, I was there for 2 months and there wasn't really any tools. So yeah. But yeah, that was definitely, when I learned how to blend, that's what took my PDR to the next level for sure. And just the stuff that I was able to fix really started going up, and
Now, do you think blending has unfolded like big in the last few years because of the type of metal that we have in cars nowadays, or because of the type of better blending hammers that we have?
I think it's a lot of things. I think I think there's people who, like the pioneers, they make a way, and then like we kind of learn from them. So I think every generation tech picks something up and we learn from it. But the metal probably has something to do with it. I think the tools just keep getting better. So I think that the tools have just gotten better. And then I think the internet, people watch, they watch your stories, they watch my videos, and we're there beating cars. Like, what's he beating that car for? So, even a Paintless dent repair tech, you could watch videos and you can kind of pick up a little bit, like, okay, this is what that's what he's doing with this hammer. So I was watching this guy, and I didn't really know how to do it. At first, I was like, kind of stiff and like trying to use it as a knockdown and like hit, the high exactly. And I was like, all right, I'm going to hit you now, high. I'm going to hit you now. But then I realized that it's more of like a flow and like a rhythm, and you're wanting to just move metal and fluidly, and you're not. I know everyone has a different thought about it, but that's how I blend. I try and think a lot bigger, because with a knockdown, there's a time and a place for a knockdown, but people, they get really isolated into the crowns that are up close, and then you put your light back, and then you get the hammer, and it's like, you're like, whoa, okay, I see more. So that was the main thing for me, but it wasn't, I kind of had to teach myself a lot too, just trial and error. So
yeah.
How old are you now?
I'm 34. So yeah.
So you're 34 and
Yeah.
you're married, and how many kids do you have?
I got 3 kids. So I've been married for we're going on 8 years. I got an 8-year-old boy. I got a 5-year-old girl and a 2-year-old girl. So a boy and 2 girls.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that, like, you were working with your dad, you were chasing hell, and then so where was the starting of your own company? How did that take about?
It kind of happened when I moved to Colorado, which was going on about 8 years ago. There was a point in my life where I was in my mid-20s, and me and my fiance at the time, we were going through a rough patch, and she was pregnant, and it all went sideways. And so the Denver airport got hit with hail, and my brother-in-law was out here pushing, and my life was just upside down. And so they're like, hey, come out here, you can work and stay with us. So I came out, and I haven't left ever since. So that was kind of like the beginning of, I guess, real adulthood for me. I'm a millennial. I'm a little bit of a snowflake, but not as much as these newer douchebags, No, I respect every generation, but yeah, it took me a while to mature, still maturing, but I came out to Colorado, and I think I was maybe 26 or 27. I've been out here 8 years, so yeah, I think I was 26 when I came out here. I'm pretty bad at math, but so yeah, that was kind of when I came out here. I was working for my brother-in-law, still hail chasing, working for Dent Wizard. That's the gig at the Denver airport. It was just rental cars that got hit there.
Yeah.
And then we had our first kid, and I didn't have any work, and my brother-in-law, he had a stroke. I was working with him. He was out here. He had a stroke, and he was he was trying to figure out his business and things like that. And I had a kid on the way and a lot of bills, and I was like, all right, man, I got to figure this out. So all I knew at that point was wholesale. That's what my dad taught me. So he taught me wholesale. So I went out and I just went around, and I didn't have a website. I didn't have reviews. I didn't know anyone out here. So I went out to dealers and I did demos. And my skills were pretty good. I was better than a lot of techs then. Like I could, especially for wholesale back then, I was able to, give a good product. And of course I was younger and too cheap. So, I was fresh meat for a lot of these car guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of how I transitioned into this. And then eventually, as I went into wholesale, more people, like just through word of mouth, started reaching out, wanting their cars fixed and hail claims. And I didn't have a shop, and I was like, all right, well, me and Manny, I think we got our shops at about the same time, because we were messaging. I've been following him for 3 or 4 years now, so I've had my shop something going on 4 years, something like that, 3.5, 4 years. Before I had mobile, and then I was getting into retail as I had a mobile business. So it was good to have that income and transition into having a 2,700 square foot shop now. So, which I moved to a bigger shop, which it's been pretty good. I think we can work on about 5 cars here, maybe 6 if we're lucky, but we could have a decent amount.
Yeah, I saw that video the other day of you walking back to your shop, and yeah, that thing is pretty big, man. It's a really nice shop, nice location too.
So we're the end, so we share. I don't get the whole building. The building, I probably should have picked up my old shop, which was next door. It was just 1,000 square feet, and that would have put me over like closer to 3,600 square feet. And I kind of wish I would have gotten that, and maybe it'll open up, but yeah, I probably should have. That's where I should be doing the corrections, and ceramics is over there. That would have been nice, but we still do them in here. I'm working with a detailer, and I'm just subbing it out right now. But
Nice.
yeah.
Ryan said earlier that you have a really nice logo and a nice business name. I always ask everyone. So how did you come up with your business name?
I think originally, so I was trying to come up with an LLC that could incorporate more than PDR, because I'm actually a personal trainer and a massage therapist. So I was like trying to come up with a more neutral LLC to where I could use it for, other things if I wanted to. So that's where, my LLC is just Performance Restoration LLC. So
Okay.
a little bit more broad. So I was trying to like detail it into cars. So it wasn't like, I'm going to be Performance Restoration and Repair. It kind of just happened that way, but it's a little wordy, but I think I like it. I've gotten a lot of compliments. It's kind of got an old school look to it.
Exactly.
So that's kind of what we're going for.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw you on IG, I was just like, man, that is a sick logo.
Thanks.
Like, that is sick.
Actually, there's a guy who reached out to me and was like, this graphic designer, he was like giving me shit about my logo, and I was like, man, like it is simple, but like I've gotten so many compliments on my logo, and he's like, you think
Perfect.
He's like, you think it's a good logo? And I was like, yeah. I think I'm gonna have you redesign my logo, you turd.
Yeah, they don't want to hear that.
Yeah. He was like putting me down. I was like, is this how you find clients?
I mean, it's a sick logo, and
Thanks, I appreciate it.
it reminds me of like an old school sign.
I want to get some more of these hats made up and put them on the shelf here and give them to customers, because I have my website. I think it'd be good advertising it.
Yeah,
well.
of course.
Just hand them out. So
it's funny how sometimes you get clients that look at you like, hey man, like you have another of those hats, and then it's just like, you really want one of these?
Yeah. I know. I've had a lot of people ask. I've given a lot away to like friends and family, but definitely I had people that want them. So I need to get some made, but there's all the supply issues right now. It's been hard to get stuff made. So you guys know it, but
Top dollar.
So you did mobile, you did a lot of wholesale, you did you chased hell. What made you think about like going into a shop? Like what started that?
It's the weather here. I was telling Ryan before the show started, the weather in Colorado is all over the place. I mean, we get crazy amounts of rain. It's crazy hot, hail, snow. I mean, the winter is really, at least in the Front Range here, like the Front Range goes from like, I think up in Fort Collins all the way down to Colorado Springs. So there's a lot of population that lives there. But so we're on the Front Range in Longmont, north of Boulder. But the Front Range, it's not as cold as people think it is in the winter. You get some cold days and it's brutal, but it's like that dry. The humidity's low, so it's pretty warm. Even when it's 20 degrees out, the sun's out. We get like 320 days of sunshine here, so it's not too bad. But there are some brutal days. The summers were probably almost worse, except for those few. I freeze my balls off a lot outside. So that was a big part of it. I'm not in California like you, Manny, where you're
I know he's got it made. He's got it made. He's
Man,
like, it's so hot. It's 70 degrees. I'm like, bro, it's 101 here with 100% humidity.
I'll tell you though, that heat will get to you. Sometimes at the end of the day, like today, right now, I'm just like, oh man, like
I need a swamp cooler for my shop. So, but we're getting into fall here. So yeah, to answer your question, it was a combination of I had a lot of business coming in like close to the Longmont area. Longmont didn't really. I had one other shop, guy's Big Bear Dent Repair. I think his name's Nick. He's a good dent guy. I've met him a few times, but he had a shop in Longmont for a while, and then he moved out east, and then Longmont just doesn't have a dent shop, and it's a pretty big town. Boulder, 20 minutes from here, has like at one point it had like 5 or 6 dent shops, but Boulder is like super ritzy town, Teslas, and so it's a good place for a shop. But Longmont's an up and coming. There's more money moving here, so I saw the opportunity. I knew I had a good service to offer people here, and I already had people. I was already doing hail claims. I'd have to like find shop space. From people, dealers. Some dealers would let me work in there, and I was like, all right, I gotta find a spot. So I just started out smaller, and then this bigger space opened up, so I hopped over here. So yeah, just baby steps. But when I had my mobile business, I was acquiring like an internet presence. I was getting reviews, so that's something I'd recommend for people who are wanting to transition or you want to get into retail. You got to have that internet presence. You got to have the reviews, as you guys know. And I think that transition, if you can get them right, you can build them up before you have the expenses. Then you move into a spot and it's not as bad.
Yeah. I think that's very important what you just said. Because a lot of guys, everyone has fear, right? Like, oh, should I get a shop? Like, and it's always that fear is just like, can you maintain busy at a shop? And I think that one of the key to, succeed in transitioning to a shop is being able to have an online presence.
Right.
Just exactly like how you just said it,
You need it all around. You know what I mean?
Right.
You need almost that full circle. When you have I call it like the blockchain. Like you need social media, you need a website, you need reviews, you need presence in that space, because you never know. A lot of people are not going to Google, they're going to Facebook. Who's a good dent guy in this area?
Yeah.
So, I think that's a huge thing, is to try to touch everything.
Yeah. And that's something that I need to be better about, because I don't like Facebook as much, so I just don't get on there. But I know, so I don't get on. I have it on there.
I'm here with you.
I have Facebook, but it's not as built up. I don't put as much stuff, and I guess it's linked to this now. But I have a YouTube channel now, but I've only posted like a couple things, and I probably should post some more. But I've noticed you, Manny. It seems like I've checked you out on like Yelp, and it seems like I've checked out a lot of people on Yelp, like the California techs, and it seems like Yelp is really big out there. But like in Colorado, it seems like Google, like most people around here, Google, we have a lot of Google reviews, but our Yelp pages aren't as big. So my Yelp page isn't as big as yours. How much business do you get from that? Is that like a lot of business from there?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, before I actually started my business, when I was in the body shop, Yelp was big for us. I mean, we would easily get about $1 million of just work from Yelp a year at the body shop. So I knew how important Yelp was. So when I jumped and I, opened up the company, that was my main focus. Just like built up that Yelp, and for like, I think for the first 4 years, I had it free. I wasn't paying for advertising. And then I think once I opened up the shop, I started paying, because I wanted to make sure that I had that consistency. And honestly, I mean, up to this point, like it pays off on its own,
Yeah.
But yeah, Yelp it's pretty big here in Cali.
And it is not big here. It's
really
for food.
And you know what's funny though is that Google, my Google reviews are not as big as Yelp, but it's funny, you could kind of feel the different types of clients that come from Google and Yelp.
Right.
Like the Google clients here in California, they research a lot. I mean, they'll go through your Yelp, they'll go through your website, they'll go through your Google, and just like they'll find your address, through Google and all of that stuff. And it's funny how you could feel the difference in those clients.
Right.
So, you opened up your shop, you eventually you already had work. Is that where your IG started?
I think I started it. I noticed like some of my brother and like a couple other techs I knew were posting the repairs on there. I started it a while ago. I don't know. I'd have to scroll down to my earliest post, probably 2019 or 18.
Yeah, I think that's what I saw.
Yes, sometime back then, and it was just kind of random. I'm not, I wasn't really good at social media. I'm not really that great yet. But then I didn't really like post too much about myself or anything like that. It was just kind of like before and afters, and then, you know, I was just like, all right, I don't know. I guess I'll show some more of my personality. So that's kind of what I was like, because I realized with social media that, you know, with TikTok and all this stuff is people have really short attention spans. So if you're not engaging them in like the first, you know, millisecond really, or second or two,
Yeah.
you know, it's just the scroll. So that's something that I realized, and I think I've had some reels that did pretty well. When I don't know, I think I'm able to get people's attention okay, but like I said, some stuff will like blow up, and then I'm like, I don't know how that blew up, and then other things that I think, for instance, I thought I made a really good one today, and I thought it was funny and like really good compare, and like it's like crickets, and then I show like this oil canner get popped out, and like, you know, everyone, woo, I'm like, and I'm just deceiving people, because then I have people come into my shop as well, and they're like, can you pop my bed out with your plug?
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. It's like, it was like the clickbait stuff. I showed a big oil canner, and it's all satisfying to people. So, you know.
Yeah, social media, it's weird. Like, you know, you show them the professional videos, you know, the doing things right, and it's just like
They don't want it.
they don't want it, you know. But here you come, you know, you've been a great example of that. You put a little bit, 2 steps into it, you know, little dancing, little music, and they want to see that.
I mean, look at Corey Nichols. Look at Corey on TikTok. I've got guys I'm getting calls from Corey's TikToks. You know what I mean? Like, he just does what he wants to do.
Is he the guy from Arkansas, or?
I think he's from Arkansas. It's Encore Dent Repair, so I don't know. I think it is on Arkansas.
He's a country boy, right?
Yeah.
He's like an old body guy.
I think I follow him on Instagram.
Cowboy
Is he just
PDR or
TikTok?
PDR Cowboy. Yeah, he's killing it on TikTok.
Yeah, I have a TikTok, but do you make your content on, like, do you make it separate, or you just link them, or what do you do with that?
Usually all of my stuff's linked. So like if I post on Instagram, it posts on my business page, Facebook, and then it posts on Twitter. I get a pretty good return on Google from Twitter, so I try to keep up with that.
Yep. So I mean, my page, I'm not a freaking influencer, really. I guess I had one company, they're going to give me some like free shorts and some work clothes. So that's the first free stuff I've seen so far. So I'm like, sweet. But I don't know. It is funny. Like, as soon as I started, like, just kind of being goofy, I had like 200 followers for, you know, the first 3 or 4 years. And that's back when I was harassing Manny all the time. Manny was like my older brother on Instagram. I was like, hey, Manny, you do this. And it took him how many years to follow me, Manny? It took you too long, man.
Oh, stop it.
I'm just kidding.
No, you know, it's funny. There's a lot of people that, you know, that have relationship with, but for some reason I'm low on my following.
Yeah, you should, man. It's distracting. It is. It's distracting.
What was I going to say? So does your family, do they see you now as like, what is it, like a social media famous?
I don't know. It's just goofy. It's all goofy. They all know it's funny. I mean, I show my wife and the kids stuff. They're like, oh, God, how many views does that have? I'm like, I don't got a lot. I'm like, oh. But, yeah, I mean, I'm a small fish in a big pond or whatever, you know. I don't know. It's fun. It's fun. I'm happy to share my character and some techniques. I also, you know, I try and get people, you know, some techniques.
Yeah.
Some business stuff on there, and I'm
Wait.
not always. Most of the stuff I say on there is kind of like satire, like sarcastic a lot of times, and I don't know if a lot of my followers understand that, but most of what I say is kind of.
You know, I think that the important part, though, whether like you're funny, whether you're goofy, or whatever kind of videos you're putting, I think the important is just that you're just interacting, that you're showing your face to the people, that you're showing them what you do. If you're a funny character, let them see who you are. You know, just like show people who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's funny because there's other technicians that, I've looked at, I look at people's stuff too. And sometimes you cannot find a picture of how they look.
Oh, I know.
Like I have a few dent friends that I could go into the Instagram and there's not one picture of what they look like.
Right.
And I think that helps with selling to the customer. I think they feel if they see you on social media, they feel like they already know you. So your ice is already broken, and then you start selling to them, and it's easier. You know what I mean? They feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
Alex is one of them.
Yes.
We're gonna put him on blast right now.
Yes.
No, but he admits it. He says guilty. No, like if you go into his Instagram, there's not one picture of him pushing a dent.
Come on, Alex.
And it's just like, so, I mean, there's that, like, that's cool and all, but, people do want to see who's the guy, how they're doing,
I mean, I think that's a big part of business is we can get in this grind where, it's push a dent, make your paycheck, and, rather than serving your community, rather than getting to know the people. That's something I learned with my dad was from wholesale. I learned a lot. Like I know how to get accounts. Like I have more accounts than I know how to do it. And like I don't know, retail. There's benefits to both. Retail, you deal with like OCD people, and I'm not that way. I am with my work, but like you just deal with a little bit crazier people. Which if you're good, then it's good. But my dad, one thing he taught me was like these managers at these dealerships, they're bored, so he would go in there and he would just like crack jokes and get their attention. And like these people a lot of these people work 6 days a week, 60-hour weeks, and they're just bored. And like a lot of your customers are going to be bored. And like if you can like get to know them, ask questions, it's not just about a dent and a paycheck. It's you get to know these people. And I don't do it to just like manipulate them. I do care about my clients. I do try and make it more about just the dent, because sometimes it can just feel like a dent and you get kind of mundane and it feels like a grind. But I try and give it my all in every repair, and I love seeing happy clients. I try and get to know them, and I want repeat clients, and I want people to trust me and, bring the cars back. And, stuff doesn't always go right, and I try and make it right with them. So,
100%.
For sure.
And I love when you get a customer and they're like, "What's up, Ryan?"
Right. Yeah.
This is Jeff. I'm like, "Oh, Jeff." You always try to, like, some of the customers, I put their numbers in the phone, so when they call, I'm like, "Hey, Jeff, how are you?" And they're hooked. Even though they're a repeater. But I love when you have the repeater customer that you just have that relationship with. It's super. It's special.
Yeah, you're their dent guy, so they know who to come to first. Even if I have so many clients that come in that if they need anything else, I'm like, this is who you use. So I'm their like go-to guy for car repair.
What tools? Do you have any tools that you would say is your?
I brought a few things out. This is more basic stuff. I don't have as many hammers as Manny. This is actually one that this is a custom hammer. My brother made this. Shiloh, he's my older brother. He has a shop in Asheville, North Carolina, which is in western North Carolina. Asheville Hail and Dent Repair. He's a good tech. Wow. But he made this. You can change the weight at one end, and then the other, you can weight this. You can make it longer with weights.
Oh, that's cool.
Got the little pull cue tip on. I think there's dent companies that sell this tip now. And then this is a brass tip. The brass can get little divots in it, but it also polishes up, and it's a little bit softer, so it's pretty forgiving. But this is my longer hammer for like bedsides. I guess I keep thinking
it's reversed.
But yeah, it's got to be 22-inch hammer, maybe a couple feet. So that's really good for bedsides. Custom made hammer. I could probably, if anyone's interested, go to my Instagram. I could probably get him. He was wanting to mass produce them, and then for my metal, I have a Cars Former. This is a good one. It's just a simple hammer. I keep it polished. I like the length. I probably use this one the most. But yeah, these are probably my two hammers. And then this set here, I recommend Dent Techs get this set. So this is the Glen 5-piece shave set.
It's fantastic.
Super basic set. It's got the T handles on it, but it's a 5-piece, and it's got these longer tips. So this is the longest one. So that's really good for working on hoods. You can put it in the factory holes and get a lot of leverage, and they don't flip.
Or bedsides.
Yeah, bedsides there. But this is I do bend them too, so I'll put a nice bend in it that I can get into a brace. But I use this pretty much on every hail hood. Are
you pretty open to like bending like whatever tool you got to bend, or are you like?
Yeah.
No, yeah. I don't like to bend my tools.
No, I am definitely. I'll break some stuff. I mean, I'm kind of like an orc sometimes, and so yeah, I'm like a freaking Neanderthal back there. I'm just like for sure. So yeah, I bend stuff. I make custom tools. My dad, he was making tools back then. So then I use the Gorilla Grip is pretty sweet, and then the Let's Go on the tip. You can see that on there. So I have a bunch of these adapters. I use these a lot. The Gorilla Grip set, it's a good set. I had the shorter one, the T handle, but then I got the longer one. So those are cool. These are probably the ones, the more basic ones. I have a lot of other tools in the shop, like the dent dial. I use that a lot. I'm getting more into the stand liners. I need to get more stand liners. I'm liking a lot of the flat, like spoon tools where you can just move metal super clean. Yeah, it's all about just clean repairs for me now. Now that I've been doing dents for over 12 years, it's just how to be more efficient, investing in better tools, and that the beginner tech is going to spike. They're going to wet sand a lot. They're going to drill, and like as you progress in your career, you should try not to do that. Do your best to and that's what I've tried to do in my career. As I've transitioned into retail, I'm like, how do I fix stuff cleaner? Like I got to learn how to be clean, and I
think you said it right. Just learning how to be more efficient.
Yeah.
I have a tendency time to time where if I'm working on a door, I keep pulling out my tool to do a little tap down. I keep going back to put my tool in there. And I remember someone told me one time, like, Manny, while your tool is in there and while you're pushing, you got to be efficient. Right. You gotta, work and do everything so that when you stop and it's time to like knock things down, then be efficient in that too. So it's just like, and not just, doing that, but also like you were saying, like using, having a variety of tools that can help you be more efficient and be faster. And,
For sure. Definitely investing in tools. My tool setup, I buy stuff every month just slowly. And I got a lot of tools. I got over 30K of tools, but as you know, in PDR, that's not a lot. I look at Toledo's setup and all, like some other your setup, and I need some more tools. But invest in your craft. It makes it easier. You get excited to work too. It makes you excited to go to work and use your tools. But there's so many cool tools out there.
What are you using for glue?
I just got a couple bags of that Reaper, the purple glue, because Manny, he's always raving about something. I gotta give that a try. But I actually use that the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh yeah,
glue. It's like, I use that a lot, and it's pretty neutral as far as temperature. And I'll use freeze spray on it if the temperature's not right, or I'll use heat, and I get pretty consistent pulls for I get some hard pulls with that, and then you don't have to pick at it. Like Tabwell pulls great, but you're picking at it even with 90% alcohol. You're just like marring the paint. It takes forever. So the reason I like that is sometimes you don't even need alcohol to remove it, but I like that stuff a lot. That's probably what I use the most. But I use a lot of different stuff. I'll use Tabwell. I'm excited to use the purple Reaper glue. I
gotta say this, man. Just like that glue, it's solid. I really like that stuff. Matter of fact, I bought a glue gun just so that I could use that glue. I mean, I've been wanting to have the option of like have different guns with different glue, but once I've been using that Reaper glue, and it was just like, man, I think that this deserves to be on just one gun. You know?
Nice, man.
It doesn't work here.
Really?
For me, I'm with inside air conditioned shop. It doesn't. If I'm outside, it's totally different. Like heat, like in a 71, 70 degree shop, it doesn't.
And just like any other glue, just like you got to learn the timing.
Yes.
That stuff. I hated it when I started using it because I would let it dry too long, and then you can't get it off. That's how strong it is. I'm gonna give you the heads up. Don't let that thing sit for too long, because then you're gonna hit yourself trying to get it off. Like it's that strong. It's solid stuff, man.
Nice.
So you're 5 days a week, 6 days a week over there?
We're 5 days a week. If hail hits, we'll grind, but we get out like it's me and my brother-in-law. Just me and him. I trained him up about four years ago, right when I was getting the retail shop. That's about when I trained him up.
So your brother-in-law, it's the other guy who's always in the shop with you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll give him a shout out here too in a second. But yeah, we're both family men. So we go out into the mountains and ski and go hiking, and so I gotta take that rest. I think that's important. Manny, you gotta be careful, man. I see how hard you work, man. You gotta take some rest, man.
I try to take it easy,
But Manny, I see how hard Manny works. I'm like, man, I need to work harder, bro. he knows how to work, man. But that's one thing I'll say about my brother-in-law is, so he's a 4-year tech, or going on 4 years, and he's already better than a lot of 10-year, 15-year techs, and I think a lot of it has to do with his mindset. He's super particular. He's very organized. And for me, my weakness is like what you said, Manny. Like you get on a door deck, you're pulling your tool in and out. I tend to like scatter my stuff everywhere, and like I get ADD. Like I'll jump around a dent, I'll jump around to like all this damage and like approach stuff. But he gets really like focused in and like laser focused. And he's probably at hail. He's probably just as good as me. He might even be faster in some ways, just because a lot of times I'm on the phone and stuff too. So it's not a fair contest. But if I really focus, I'll whoop his ass. Don't.
Now, was it in the contract? There's like, if you got to work here, you got to let that hair grow. Was it in that contract too? Because
the contract is he was supposed to have a mullet or like a rat tail like 2 years ago, but he's not met his side of the bargain. So I don't know. Yeah, how much longer I'm gonna let that hair slide? We'll see.
Yeah, I noticed.
That's funny. So if you had one tip for some of these new guys, what would it be?
How new? Like
wide open. If you have any tip for anybody that somebody could leave tonight with, as in growing your business or figuring out what works, what is it?
I would probably say yes to most repairs, pretty much all, because I'm at a point now where I've refined my skill set to where I can kind of, I've pushed the limits, and I'm still pushing the limits. I'm still trying to get more tools, and like the RAV4 we fixed, I helped Will, my brother-in-law. I just posted that reel today, so check it out. It was a bad RAV4, and we're doing a bunch of crazy techniques, but that's one that a lot of people would say no on. I'm like, all right, we'll do this one. We'll do it, see what we can do. And we got it. We set the car, so we got it close enough. But I would just say, yeah, like if you're really new, go get you some lower end accounts and experiment on these cars.
Yeah.
They're not going to care, because these cars are going to be cheaper. Like to get into like a Highline dealer, you're going to have to show some skills, but we call them rat lots. So that's what we call them, rat lots. So that's where you go, where like once you're up higher in the food chain, that's not where you want to spend your time.
We went from the rock lots to the rat lots, so that's a new one for me.
There you go. The rat,
That's
the
awesome.
Rock, that's a good one. But yeah, don't say no. Like these people, they're gonna take advantage of you, but just refine your skill. And just like keep grinding, because that's how I got good at dents. Is I didn't say no, and I would just keep pushing. I'll do my best, you know, and you know sometimes I got manipulated or whatever, but I kept getting better. So I would say that, but then don't get stuck in one position in your business. If you're in your comfort zone and you got some good accounts, don't stay there. Like use those accounts to build up reviews. That was something that I did. Was I started fixing the managers' cars, the salesman cars, and I'm like, man, like yeah, find me on Google, man. Like give me a good review, man. Like I'm gonna hook you up here. So like people started like getting me good reviews and like word of mouth spreading, and like so use any leverage you can into the next step. But yeah, I'd say that's probably the main thing.
Yeah.
But and then find you a good mentor as well. I mean, there's so much good content online, stuff like this. But really hands-on. That's how I got to the next level. Was really hands-on. Somebody there working directly with me. So.
How can people find you on Instagram or your website, or how can people reach out to you?
So you can find me at PR Dent Repair. That's Instagram, and then prdents.com. And then Performance Restoration. I think you should be able to find me on there as well.
If you guys don't follow this guy, please do, because you've been doing some crazy.
I do a lot of stuff like this.
You've been doing some crazy repairs, man, and doing a little dance to it too, to go with the flow. You know, like, I was. Matter of fact, Alex, he was checking out your IG, so he was just like, man, his IG is sick. You know, because you got a mix of some fun stuff, some dancing, some crazy repairs. You know, it's awesome. So make sure you give him a follow, because you're gonna have a great time. You might stop repairing your own stuff and just keep watching his videos.
Hey, you know.
I try and give a broad range of goofiness, seriousness. I don't know. I'm pretty open to it. If you guys message me on there, you guys got questions.
Yeah.
Like that was one thing, Manny. Like I've been following him a while, and I'd ask him a question, and he would get back to me like every time. Like, hey Manny, how'd you get on that Tesla buy like that? And he would take time out of his day and take a video and send it to me. And I want to do that for anyone who reaches out to me as well, because I've had other people. I've learned a lot on Instagram, and
same here, man.
I harass people all the time. If somebody's doing something that I'm not doing, I'm like, how'd you do that? Tell me. So. And
I think that's what's awesome about social media. Just like anything else. I mean, it has its good and its bad. Social media. It could have its bad, but it could also just have an opportunity. I mean, have so much opportunities to learn and ask questions and connect with other guys. Just like so. Yeah, definitely. I think that's what's cool about our community. And someone else was saying out here, earlier that you could post pictures and other guys will take it. I mean, it is what it is. That's going to happen. I mean, you should almost feel, good that other people are using your stuff, because that's how good you are. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I wouldn't take that as like a bad thing, as like, oh, I'm not going to post anymore because they're going to take my pictures. Like, no.
Come on.
Feel prideful that they want your stuff because you're that good. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, keep putting it up there and, use it for the right things. But yeah, man, you're killing it on the IG. I wish you the best. I hope that you're getting clients, from your social media.
I think some more people locally are starting to follow me, and since I'm downtown, I think it's definitely been building up.
Have you been at MT yet? Because I was trying to think the other day. I'm like, have I seen him at MT?
That's on my bucket list. I'm gonna try and go to Florida probably next summer. It's in the summer in Florida, right? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So I want to meet everyone. Like, I consider Manny a good friend, but I've never met him in person, so that's a thing, you know. So, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of people I want to meet in person, and then get on those sharp dents too. That'll be fun.
Ugh. That means he's coming for you, man. He's coming for you.
Man, that's one thing. Like the sharp dents, man. That's what a lot of people don't realize. Like, they get all excited when they see a bunch of metal move, but those sharp dents, man, that's what separates,
Yeah.
the men from the boys. A lot of times, it's no joke.
Yeah. And I try to tell clients a lot too, that it's just like, only because you think it's a small dent, it's like, doesn't mean that it's easier. It's just like, trust me, like, those could be the hardest,
Can't see the center. You know what I mean? You're just struggling to.
Man. You guys use fogs? Do you use a line, Ryan? What kind of line?
I'm fog guy. I'm an old Dent Wizard guy. So
yeah, that's what I use. I've
you know what I use a lot.
I've seen some amazing guys who use lines, and you're kind of do you use the line just for your videos, Manny, or do you actually read with it, or?
No, there's dents where I know there's some details that I cannot see with the fog. That's when I'll turn out my lines because. There's I always say this. There's stuff that fog will show you, but there's stuff that you cannot see clear with fog. And
right.
same thing with lines. There's stuff that lines is going to show you that fog doesn't, and vice versa. There's stuff that that lines is not going to show you that fog does.
Yeah.
It's like with fog, you get a little bit more, maybe some more deception because. Your light's up close, it looks fixed, and then you put it back, and then it seems like lines, I don't know, I haven't used it as much, but it seems like you're able to read the metal. It gives you a little less deception, but then it's a little bit harder to read too.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, but
it's a really sharp, it's a hard line. Really, it's hard to read when you're
orange peel, maybe a little. I think especially if you're using like a metal knockdown or something, like the lines will show that real hard.
Yeah, and that's the thing that different paint too will show difference with lines, because like you were saying, the orange peel may be too thick, like you can't see small imperfections with the lines because it scatters with all the orange peel, I think,
Yeah.
You know what I've been using more and more on the super sharp, nasty dents is the Pro PDR Pocket Light because you can really angle that thing and get it. Get it right on top to get that center. It's been really, really helpful. So
can you suction that on, or does it just lay on?
Magnet.
Okay. I need to get that. I've seen people use that.
Yeah, just the angle that you can put the lens. For me, I can get it so close and so down to really see that center. It really makes a difference. I had a BB shot today, and it was. I was like, "Where has this been?"
My favorite.
Give us your guys'. I want to hear both how you guys approach really sharp dents. How do you guys do it?
A torch, right off the bat.
You know what I love using for sharp dents? Stand liner tools.
Yeah.
Especially like in a door. Get a good stand liner tool in there.
So you're
it's just the way it pushes. Here, I'll show you one of my favorite ones.
I'm a sharp guy. I'll go straight in with a sharp. Try to shrink up.
Yeah, I'll use the sharp as well. But I have that tool, man. That's a nice tool.
Raised crane.
Yeah.
So it's not the fender, but it's the one after the fender that it has more of a longer. But let's say Honda Civics, very easily you'll get a sharp dent in there. You get in there with this, and it's just the way it pushes is just so clean.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. It amazes me every single time.
Yeah.
And it does the thing is too is that you would think that this will put like a lot of divots from pushing. No.
It's like using a heel of a tool.
And then if I'm not using this, what I'll move on to next is just using a big tip.
All right.
So like instead of using like your ultra, your soft tip, to push on a sharp dent, no, I would find like a bigger tip.
Like a metal
to-
tip?
No, just like a plastic. It could be plastic, it could be metal, but like let's say on the back side of the metal, right? Like, this is the dent and it's that sharp. When you're going with like a small tip, like I feel like you're just
Sliding.
you're creating little divots inside. But if you use like a bigger tip, you basically, all you need to do is just put it behind there and it's going to move a lot of metal.
Right.
If that makes sense. So those will be my two go-to for sharp dents, either a big tip on on a whatever rod that I could exchange the tip, and if not, stent liner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And you're doing sharp. You like to do sharp, Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to the point to where I'm using a sharp, but I'm not pricking it all up. You know what I mean? Like I'm just shrinking it enough, giving it enough texture to where it doesn't look like a mess. You know what I mean? You're just getting enough in there just to shrink that center up.
Right.
And then open it up and then shrink it and then open it up and shrink it.
I mean, that's one for like a stretch dent. That's how sometimes you have to approach it.
Yeah.
To move, move everything in so it doesn't stretch. But I mean, early on in my dent career, I was like, all right, sharp dent. I'm going after it with a soft tip and lots of heat, and then boink, you got a volcano, and it's just super stretched. You're stretching the metal all around it, and it's just you got a mess. So I'm kind of like I'll do sharp like you, Ryan, but I will. I've been liking the stand liners. If I'm in an open panel, I've been using like the flat. I made this tool actually.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you he made that one tool. That tool is actually pretty nice. I'm telling you guys, if you guys don't follow him, make sure you do, because he's going to show you some crazy gnarly stuff that he's doing at the shop. And you'll get a little bit of dancing moves on there too.
Yeah, so I think stand liner was out of the tool that I wanted, so I was like, I'm going to try and make something. So this was just a just a T handle with a 90-degree bend for a soft tip, and that's where the soft tip used to be, was right there on the end. But that's what I'm pushing with is right there. So I'll do a lot of recreasing with this. I went after there's a video on my IG. Let me see it. I'll pull it up real quick. I'll show you guys on my phone. Where is it? This one. You can see how sharp that one.
Yep.
So this is how I approached. I used kind of flat stuff just to warm it up, and I was never like attacking it. I was just kind of finessing it. And I put a bend on this tool so I could go in the fender. I'm using a metal knockdown. I do like metal knockdowns. You have to be careful with them, but I think for stretched metal, they're pretty precise. So that's what I used on this, and it was really, really sharp. That was an aluminum fender. So yeah, I made this one. Shout outs to Stan Liner. I'm not trying to sell this or anything. I will buy his, but it is nice because I put a gnarly bend on this, and I'll put it in a wheel, and then I'll take it back to just a flat tool, and I'll put it in a hood. But that's been a fun tool to mess with. But I like making stuff, man. Maybe someday you guys will see some tools I put out, because I got an idea for a lens, Manny. That lens. I'm not gonna throw any companies down, but that lens is kind of been brutal, man. That thing on the perimeter is no bueno.
Yeah.
You
go out, you work in the heat with that thing, it peels off, and it's I've reached out to them. I'm like, man, like you guys got to do something better than that, but
Did that new gasket work for you, Manny? The one from Amazon?
Nope. Did not work. I ended up putting some Gorilla Tape on there.
I did mine right now, man. I have black grills.
I saw that. That's what I ended up with, and you know what? It's
It's okay. Yeah,
It's
I
working.
got a good idea for a lens that we'll see if I bring it out to market in a couple of years.
Nice. So hopefully we'll see you at MTE in January.
Yeah. Well, where's the one in January? Is that in
Florida.
Orlando.
Orlando.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
I need to. What I need to do is turn that into a family vacation as well. So business write off and.
I thought you were gonna say I got to set up a family meeting for that one. That's what I'll do with mine. It's just like, all right, we got to talk about this. So and then it comes like, well, you got to give us this, so we'll let you go. So, but yeah, man, it'll be great to see you out there and chat it up.
Yeah, man.
And,
Look forward to meeting you. You guys both trying to go to Vegas and Florida.
Well, Vegas is gone. There is no more Vegas.
Yeah. Did they pick another? There's somewhere else they're having it though, aren't they?
Yeah, so
Texas.
Right. So that's happening next month, and we'll be having a show in regards to the everything that's going to happen at the Texas MTE. So look forward to that.
Maybe I'll try and go to Texas because I do have some family there. So we'll see. Maybe I can make that work.
All right. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Definitely.
I know we reached out to you like almost last minute. That's our fault. We've just been so busy. But thank you for coming on.
I was getting to know you guys better, and especially you, Ryan. I haven't met you. I know. We started following each other a couple days ago, or maybe yesterday, and then
last night.
I followed his journey for a while, but
thanks, man. Appreciate it.
That's cool.
Yeah, and if you guys can, make sure you give him a follow and stay tuned for our show next week.
We'll do. Who do you guys having on next week?
It's a secret.
Well, do, man.
Thank you for coming on, man. Have a great night,
you, brother.
And stay in touch.
We'll do, man. Nice meeting you, Ryan and Manny. We'll stay in touch, man.
See you later, buddy.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was a good one.
Awesome guy, man.
Yeah, that was a good story. You know what I mean? It's good to see.
Now it makes sense. Like, his journey on how he came about. His dad taught him, brother. And all the different mentors that he had. Because when you see him working, and especially like on the big dents, like you could tell when someone has confidence.
He's got some old school skill too. You know what I mean?
And so that's
like I was watching he was fixing a ridgeline bedside, which they're tough. And, he was explaining gluing the tabs and then going in and pushing. And he was explaining the steps, and you could tell that he knew what he was doing.
Right. And that's where I was going to go. That is just like, everything that he's been taught, it makes sense why he's just killing these repairs,
And he's
the confidence in it.
Relaxed. You know what I mean? Like he's having fun. He's, you know what I mean? That was the funny thing. You know what I mean? Watching the video that I posted on this thing, I was like, this dude's enjoying it. You know what I mean? So I was like, I need to have more fun like this during the day.
Yeah, we want to see a video of you doing some dancing.
I usually call Manny at like, my hair's all jacked up. I'll call Manny at like 8 o'clock at night. He's like, I see you're still at the shop. I'm like, yeah. He's like, what are you working on? What do you think I'm working on? A roof. So, always call him in the bed. I'm in the bed of a truck or, on a step stool. So, but.
Oh, man.
Hey, man. That's what we do. Well, you have a great night.
Thanks, Ryan. Thank everyone for joining. Jeff, thank you for your support. Jeff's been on us the last couple weeks that we've been missing. He's like, "Do you guys having a show tonight?" He's like,
"Hey,
no, sorry, Jeff."
He's been going for years. So Jeff's a great supporter of the show. I appreciate everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
It's been fun.
And like I said, if you guys have someone in mind that you guys would like for us to bring on the show and interview about their journey, please,
send us a message.
Yeah, either Ryan or I. But thank you, everyone, for your support. Thank you. I wish you guys all you guys are doing great, good in health, good in business, and thanks for supporting the show. Ryan, I will see
Manny,
you next time.
100%. Get to the family. Enjoy your evening, and we will talk. Everybody stay safe. Wash your damn hands and keep it real. We'll see you next week.
Keep pushing. See you
Thanks,
guys.
guys. Bye-bye.